What is going on, everybody? Here we are. It's Saturday night. It is the Saturday Night Delight, the end of your week. It is the way to cap off A2D Radio's week of programming. It is in this very ring. I am the commissioner himself, Ritz. To my... That way. We have the United States champion, the man, Butters, and joining us from Lazy Booking and the Hockey Happy Hour, we have none other than the GOAT himself, Matty Sinsuti.
Konnichiwa.
Get the hell out of here.
Konnichiwa, Andy-san, and Butter-san.
Matty. God damn.
See, that's your fault because you said, and I quote, if I see you on Hockey Happy Hour or Ninja Mask, I'm going to yell at you from the comments. So I figured, okay, screw it. I'm going to be on your show. I might as well wear it then.
You know what's really sad? I watched Hockey Happy Hour and was expecting the Ninja Mask. Like, I was waiting for it. All right, guys, as always, we hear it in this very ring and all shows on ATD Radio. We are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check them out, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal and his entire staff, they're at 3 different locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. They're our doc. Go make them yours. Also, the gutter, guard, and deck restoration experts of South Jersey, Ambuck Services. You need to call them at 856-879-5530 as we get ready, well, we saying you guys, wherever you may be, get ready to go back outside. Well, you'd have to be in South Jersey, wouldn't you? As you go back outside, the 4th of July is next week. Guys, give these guys a call and tell them that A2D Radio sent you. They're going to hook you up. They're going to take care of you. Boys, it is finally here. The night we have been waiting for the last 7 weeks. Finally, we get to talk about the man, the Phenom, the Deadman, the American badass himself, none other than the Undertaker. For those of you that missed last week's last ride, the Undertaker announced his retirement. 30 years in the books. 30 years in the books from the Undertaker. It all started November of 1990 at the Survivor Series. But we're going to get to that in just a moment. QB54, the absolute best tailgating game in the business. They bring us our poll question. Agree, disagree, is Undertaker on your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling? I saw Brian Daly, Matty, your co-host from the Hockey Happy Hour, chiming in, saying what's up, what's going on, Mr. Daly? And Pronger's best friend himself, that's got to be Prism. Ortiz was going to be here. Matty, as our distinguished guest, I throw it to you. Is the Deadman on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling?
Yes. I mean, he wouldn't be my favorite of all time if he wasn't on there. I mean, also because of the fact that he was a stalwart. You know, on the Mount Rushmore, you look at guys like Austin, who he was great when he was around, but, you know, he didn't last as long as Taker did due to his injuries, specifically the neck injury he never truly 100% recovered from. And then The Rock went off to make movies, which I don't blame him. He probably makes a shit ton more money off of one film than he did when he probably did an entire year of wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, God, yeah.
But when you talk about a stalwart, it's The Undertaker. There wasn't a single thing that you could ever imagine the man Mark Calloway doing other than being The Undertaker and wrestling in WWE. And you could never imagine him wrestling anywhere else. I could never see Taker in the ring of any other promotion but WWE. It would feel weird. It would feel like my innocence was all, once again, resurrected and murdered all over again. if he was in another ring. But, he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. He has to be.
Right. Butters?
Oh, big time, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. My Mount Rushmore definitely Taker's right there, forefront prominent. I mean, you said 30 years in this business. Dear Lord. No one else has done it. No one else has probably beat it. He ain't had very many injuries per se, besides, always here lately, in and out every time, a match go heal up something. So, I mean, you got, I don't know where I was going with this, and I've lost my freaking dear Jesus.
All right, well, that's a new record. 6 minutes into the show, and you don't know what you're talking about. All right.
He was still...
Yeah, he just did so. So for those of you listening to us on Apple Podcast, oh my God, this is a great transition. Apple Podcast, Google Play, Speaker, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast, Butters just whacked himself in the face with a keyboard.
This whole time you've been saying about him hitting himself with the belt, and he does it with the keyboard instead.
That's the best part. Holy crap. All right, well, I think it's kind of a no-brainer, right? This poll question was loaded from the get-go. And, of course, The Undertaker's on that Mount Rushmore, right? Like, you think about everything he did over the last 30 years, how synonymous he was with WrestleMania, how synonymous he was with the WWE, never leaving. He had opportunities to. I'm sure he did. He never left, though. He was always there for Vince. He was loyal. He stayed true to Vince. Even later on in his career, when other guys were going to, Impact or, now AEW, he never did that. He's always been here in the WWE. Hey, look, it's the last member of the Hockey Happy Hour, Rob Povia. Have a great show, boys. Out having a socially distanced beverage. Be safe, my friend.
That is a good way to live.
Who else am I going to pick on Thursday nights?
Let's see here.
That's what Daly's for. Pronger's best friend. Ritz had a raging samurai. You can hear it in his voice. He's shurikens everywhere. Damn it, Prism. I thought he was my buddy. Greg Milakovic coming to us live from I-95. He says he feels like R-Truth explaining the 24/7 title. Eventually, guys, Greg will be back to where, in the land of the living, and will join AM and the PM and agree to disagree. So, Edwin James chiming in. The talks of him wanting to work early with Yokozuna was a pretty cool conversation to hear. So I think that's actually on the After the Bell, from what I understand. And I haven't actually finished that, so I haven't gotten to that conversation.
No, that was on part 4, though.
At what point was it on part 4? Back up.
I just watched part 4 last night.
So then tell me, stupid.
I don't remember what part.
I mean, to be fair, there was a point in part 4 where the entire tone shifted, and I went, oh, this is happening now. So I think I just blocked out the fact that he talked about Yokozuna.
Like, I could have sworn it.
Use your words.
I could have sworn he was talking about Yokozuna when they were talking about wanting to work with him. Wanting to, but Vince told him, hey, this is your opponent for right now.
I know that conversation's out there. I just don't know where. Eddie Empire Entertainment, Triple E. The Undertaker's a true legend, and I'm glad the Undertaker, because he cannot take it anymore. But my gut says he'll have one more match when he should end it where it starts Survivor Series. It's a good possible. Well, he won't have another match. But I think he should be at Survivor Series. That's where he should get his. If we have fans back in the arenas by November, give him a fan send-off, because that thing Friday night was weird. Travis Downey wants to know, if Taker's on the mount, who are the others? Flair, Hogan, San Martino, Rogers?
I mean, San Martino, I could see, like, if you're strictly doing WWE, San Martino has to be up there, and Hogan has to be up there. Rogers, I say this only because he was more of an NWA world champion than a WWE. Because when he won, he was given the belt. He didn't win it in Rio de Janeiro. But,
The question was Mount Rushmore Pro Wrestling.
It's tough.
I would honestly, it would be Taker. I'd say Dusty. San Martino, definitely. Hogan, Flair. I mean, there's so many people I could put up there, But
I like Dusty. Dusty's. You don't ever hear Dusty.
I feel like he should be one of those ones that is up there on that Mount Rushmore.
I think
this business throughout the business that Sting could is one of those ones that I feel like would be on mine.
That's fair. That's your opinion, even if it's wrong. Edwin says, yeah, he talked with Corey Graves, but also on another show that Graves mentions the Taker. So, yeah, I think it was on After the Bell where he had that conversation. Milakovic adds, loyalty is obviously a two-way street, but you don't see a lot of loyalty in all sports these days, let alone pro wrestling.
No.
That's fair. Pronger's best friend. I don't know. I like Taker. He's not in my top 5. He's good. He's good to everybody, so he gets that one stupid comment. One. That's all he gets. No Cena love.
It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and he has a lifeline. He just used it.
Pretty much. The co-host of The Fix and one of the producers here at HD Radio, Frank Vespi, chiming in, hey, yo, 30 years, one hell of a career. Absolutely. We're about to dive right into The Undertaker's historic, storied career. But gotta hear, Maddie, who's your... So we know Butters. What's your...
I mean, honestly, I have to put Taker there. I would put Flair there only because he was around for so long as well, and he inspired so many. I put San Martino there because he also defined a generation. The final person is real tough because I know it needs to be... You can argue Rogers, but you can also argue Lou Thez. Man, there's a lot of choices. But you know what? This is going to sound weird, but I have to go with Hogan. And the only reason why is because as much as people like to throw shit at Hogan for his politicking and everything like that, he inspired a lot of people to get into wrestling. So you can't really take that away from him. And he made the business extremely wealthy for WWE, which then trickled down to everybody else. And he made WCW even more wealthier than it deserved to be. So
a lot more wealthier than it deserved to be. No, and you're absolutely right. And hey, it's the weekly roundup co-host Jake Creel. What's up, boys? Definitely agree to the poll. After he's given to the WWF, WWE, he has to be up there. Guys, if you missed it today, you need to go back on Apple Podcasts and all your little podcast sites and listen to the interview that Jake and Steve do with an MMA fighter whose name's escaping me. God, that's embarrassing. Pronger says, love. I'm not an MMA guy. Cut me a break.
Jake will very, very loudly on the comments let you know who it is.
Sure. Pronger says, love you, Ritz. Yeah, Pronger's best friend. Look, he's got me calling him Pronger now because I'm lazy. Prism saying.
That was on purpose.
It absolutely was. 100%. So for my Mount Rushmore, when I think... What the hell was that?
was Bray Wyatt supposed to show up on the show and I didn't realize it? If
Is
that's
this
the case, then hell yeah, I'm all
Is
for
this
it.
like CTV or something? Or GTV, whatever that was?
I don't know.
Well,
I was expecting to cut to what was it in the 90s?
Wasn't it GTV?
Yeah, it was like GTV, and freaking Val Venus made fun of Big Show's penis, and he beat the shit out of him in the bathroom. But anyway,
So, all right, I guess, maybe that's his nice way of saying, hey, you forgot about me. Because in the backstage area, producing us, making us look good, and sometimes confusing the hell out of us, it is one third of the Fix host panel, Ralph Delavecchio. We gotta send him a big thank you for all he does.
whoop, whoop.
Edwin James chiming in, they still did him dirty with the Mania streak being broken.
well,
I disagree.
it was his decision, and he chose.
Correct.
So, I mean, here's the thing, though. I think if I had the ability to say to him, like, I don't know if you should have lost to Brock, I would say Roman, but I'm not necessarily Brock. That's the only reason why. But other than that, though, at some point he was going to lose.
He had to have. So my Mount Rushmore. I gotta go with Taker, because, right?
Go.
I like Dusty. I like putting Dusty on there. I never really thought about that. He does bring a lot to the table. Hogan, you got to put Hogan up there for all the money that he made everybody, right? And the impact that he had on the business. But I also lean towards like for me, the toss up is: do you put Classy Freddie Blassie up there? Do you put Bobby Heenan? Does Vince go up there?
Ooh. I never thought about that.
Does Bischoff? Does Heyman?
See, that's tough because, then you're starting getting into that point of, okay, are we doing it for everybody or are we doing it just strictly for wrestlers?
So my comment was the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
Okay.
So I look at it as an industry as a whole, right? Obviously if you're putting wrestlers, Vince is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
But I think Vince has to go up there because, let's be real, right? Without him and putting this vision together and his family,
Wrestling wouldn't be where it is today.
No, I don't think it is, right?
Honestly, I think we'd still damn near almost be territorial days still, kind of.
Well, I don't know if it would be territorial, but I still think that Jim Crockett would still be around. Like the NWA would still be a major presence, and the AWA would probably still be around, even if its program still was stuck in the 70s. But, to be honest, I would say like the wrestling business was getting there because of the way cable was starting to become. And it was only a matter of time before there was going to be a national broadcast available to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But Vince he thought 3 steps ahead of everybody else and realized I can take this and run with it and be the major company. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and Travis hits the nail on the head. If you put Vince, you got to think about Verne Gagne. And he's right? Like the Vince name just kind of popped into my head and it sounded good to say out loud because it drives a conversation. But Mount Rushmore's not big enough, I think, for everybody that you have to put in professional wrestling because so many people have contributed one way or another.
You'd almost have to take away the Mount Rushmore and go your top 10.
Oh, yeah, you have to think of who, or even 20. There's been so many people. That may be something later down the road that we do between the both shows. We really sit down and think of who are the most influential people in professional wrestling's history. And that's a conversation for a later date, and we need to have Chrome here for that, most definitely. All right, gentlemen, jump in your Wayback Machines with me.
Okay.
Let's
I
go
don't want to do
back.
anything. I don't want to hurt myself again.
I'm not even touching that comment at
Mine's
all.
a DeLorean, so I'm good.
Fair. So, November 22nd, 1990. It's Survivor Series. It's Ted DiBiase's $1 million team going up against Coco Beware, Dusty Rhodes. I don't have the rest of the card here, but either way, Brother Love brings out the man known as the Undertaker. And I'll never forget, what was it? It's Piper. Look at the size of that ham hock.
Oh yeah. And then he said, "Check out them drumsticks, baby."
And that was what nobody knew at that time, that was the start of something big when it comes to the Undertaker and his career.
As that, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, Austin said it. He rode the lightning for 30 years. That was that first lightning strike. And then I think he. All right, never mind. But then, very soon after, he gets rid of Brother Love and brings in, ooh, yeah, Paul Bear himself.
So much better than Brother Love, to be quite honest. When you think about it, it's like, what would have happened if they never got rid of Brother Love? How do you think it would have even really... Do you think Undertaker would be where he is today if they would have kept Brother Love with him?
That wouldn't have made any sense. Like, I mean, maybe you can get away with it for a little while, but then after a moment, it's just like, okay, so clearly this is, there was still an element of believability back then. So it was just like, no one's going to believe it because it's like, why would an Undertaker be around Brother Love? It makes no sense,
Exactly. Prism saying Bret Hart, Dusty Rhodes, Flair, Funk, and Savage are his favorite wrestlers, but his top 5 gimmicks are Taker, Mankind, Vader, Kane, and Goldust.
We need to save that and show that to Chrome because he will absolutely bust a gasket when he reads Bret Hart.
Oh! Prism, I need Prism. You need to tell me right here, right now, as God is your witness, is Bret Hart your number one? Were those in an order? Is Bret Hart your absolute favorite pro wrestler of all time? Because if it is, I have some texting to do.
That'll make Lazy Booking very interesting.
Yes! Prism confirms!
Oh! And Eddie... Oh... Here we go! The war between Pronger's best friend and Chrome begins! Yes! I love it! Chrome will formally declare war very soon.
Triple E says Undertaker, Eddie, Flair, Bret Hart, and wait, Vince Kennedy McMahon.
To be fair, Vince is one of the greatest villains of all time. You cannot have... What more can we say? It's just like Vince is priceless with the shit that he's done starting from 97 onward.
Oh, yeah.
Great stuff.
So, with Paul Bear coming in and playing his dad, essentially, right, as he would in later years, how we started to talk about Brother Love sticking around with Undertaker. How crucial is it that Paul Bear was introduced? And how much of it did it add to the mystique that was the Undertaker, having Paul do all the talking for him?
It was great. I think it added a mysticism to it, that wasn't there. It was there, but with Brother Love, it gets lost. But with Paul Bear, the creepy factors turned up to 11. So when you have that, and hell, Paul Bear had his own talk show on WWF for a little while.
Wasn't it the funeral parlor? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had the barbershop, the funeral parlor. We had everything.
Piper's Pit.
The snake pit, I think it was, for Jake. It was everything.
And
anyway.
They say now there's too many talk segments. Okay.
Yeah. They were even crazier back then because they had actual sets to go with them, too. But,
yeah, okay.
But anyway. But yeah, Percy Pringle himself, yeah. Paul Bearer's territory name. But I would say
Looks like he ate too many Pringles.
Speak for yourself.
Hey man, I love the man. You know, I can't really knock him.
God, I thought he was going to say I love Pringles.
Hey, I like Pringles. I give it to him. I can give it to you. I like Pringles.
We know.
By the way, he's actually the third guy to hold that name. He was Percy Pringle the third. There were two others before him. But anyway.
Random fact of the day, ladies and gentlemen. My life got better because I knew that.
How about one more? You know, Undertaker almost was an Undertaker. They almost had him in the gobbledygooker outfit.
I've heard that story, and I've heard that story so many times, and like, you know how much that hurts my soul. Fun facts with Maddie. That hurts my soul to hear that he almost was a gobbledygooker.
Well, you remember? Did you see the Broken Skull sessions with him and Austin? Remember where he said, he's like, "Oh man, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be Eggman." When he said he looked at the egg.
So, you know, we could sit here and we could go through all 30 years of the Undertaker's career, and you know, all right, what was his best moment of '99? What was his best moment of this, that? I don't have that kind of patience. I don't, right? Like,
I gotta ask you though. I gotta ask you.
Sure.
What is your thoughts on the fact that his very last in-ring match was for the Aggro Crag?
You know,
the last time he was in a ring, actual wrestling.
Oh no, you don't need to repeat yourself. I heard it. So, like, the child in me is like, the Aggro Crag! Yay! And the adult in me is like, what the fuck?
Notice how there's no difference in the tone of voice.
Fuck me, Maddie.
He's still a kid. It's still real to him, damn it.
So Ralph and I talk pretty frequently, right? So every Saturday, and he actually didn't do it today. I'm actually kind of surprised and a little upset. But every Saturday, Ralph, when he sends me the link for the show, sends me the "It's Still Real to Me, Damn It" video. Without fail.
Just to let you know he's there.
Just to let me know he cares. That's what it is. So, all right. As far as The Undertaker fighting for the Aggro Crag, it upsets me because, one, it wasn't here in the States where he made his career. Two, he didn't take any of his gear off. Like, it was a squash match of squash matches. Now, all of that being said, so Maddie, you're roughly our age, right?
Okay. Well, I'm 26, so
I'm 28. Butters, you're
33.
Okay, so Butters is older.
No, I'm sorry, 34.
How the hell do you not know how old you are?
Brain, no functioning.
No comment. So, Butters, what was your first exposure to The Undertaker?
Oh, dear Jesus. I'd have to say the American Badass.
Well, that backfired on me.
I'm stunned, really? That late?
You were that late to the party?
I was pretty late to the party when it came to wrestling. You know, I watched it off and on as a kid, but I wasn't really, truly, fully into it, integrated, until about around that time.
Oh, okay.
But
okay,
then. You know, over the years, though, I've still gone back and watched everything, learned a lot of the stuff. It's still one of those. That's about where, one of my first intros into The Undertaker. My first, holy crap, this guy is like the greatest.
Maddie?
Mine's a little different. Got to turn the clock back a year. It was the Ministry Undertaker. And first time, I swear to God, it was either when he did the blood sacrifice of Midian, or it was when he was about to marry Stephanie McMahon. It was one of those two times. I don't know why, but I just thought that it was absolutely freaking hilariously cool. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was watching way too much Goosebumps at the time. But I immediately
It's a
fell in
very
love with it.
good possibility. So I came into professional wrestling in 1999. I actually think the first event I watched on TV was WrestleMania 15 because it was in Philly. And Mataraki came over to my house and we watched. He ordered WrestleMania. My dad was a wrestling fan at the time, and so we all watched WrestleMania. And I started to learn who this Undertaker was. And at the age of 8, I have never been more scared shitless of somebody that because at 8 years old, you don't understand that this isn't real. So when this man walks out and is doing some creepy shit, it's like, mommy, why is he why? Right? So you really don't understand it.
Still stunned. No difference in the voice.
Fuck you.
You keep giving it to me like it's not my fault.
If you want to be honest, I can go higher, but I'm terrified that I'll snap my microphone.
So you can do a Michael Jackson impression?
Yes.
Please, go right ahead. Floor is yours.
Absolutely not.
Damn it! Come on. The
No.
viewers want it.
No, they don't. And even if they do, no.
I want to see and hear bald Michael Jackson. Come on, man.
Watch The Simpsons. So the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker was my Undertaker at the time. And you go back and you watch, and especially so when he raises Austin on the symbol, right? That's so iconic. And when all that time leading up to him stalking Vince and stalking Stephanie, and I want to say it was right around the Super Bowl one year. I don't know why this stands out to me, but it's when Vince was doing that interview, and they say the Undertaker's here, and Vince runs out, leaves Stephanie, and that's when Stephanie gets taken.
Oh, okay. That episode of Raw. And then Shamrock had to go find her.
Yeah. And then Austin ends up saving her. And that whole night and weeks around it, the symbol burning in front of McMahon's yard.
That was good.
So much good stuff. I never knew until years and years later. Because we didn't have YouTube and shit like that back then. I didn't know that Viscera was Mabel, and they actually took him away and brought him back as Viscera. I didn't know who Midian was, and all that bit, right? Because by that point they've already become Viscera and Midian.
Yeah.
You already had the Acolytes. You already had the Brood. Undertaker had this small army at his disposal.
Little did we realize that was actually out of character. Never did Taker really ever have a stable ever again. That was the only time that ever happened.
Yeah. Well, if it isn't the last member of the Fix, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ryan Brodo. Ryan, what is going on, old friend? So, just found out Miles Sanders is following us on Instagram, so I'm doing pretty good.
Funny you mentioned that. Ralph actually texted that to Andy right before the show got started.
Yeah, and I had to ask who that was. That might send Brodo into a tizzy.
Maybe. That's a good thing.
So Undertaker goes away from the WWE at the end of 1999, early 2000 for a groin injury. At May 2000, he returns at Judgment Day during a match between Triple H and The Rock on the motorcycle as the American Badass. this was such a drastic change from, the rolling the eyes in the back of the head, I'm going to shoot lightning out of my hands Undertaker that we saw years prior. Now, he's on the motorcycle. He's waving the American flag. He's kicking everybody's ass. He's got a more aggressive fighting style. As the Undertaker, the match would start off slow. The bam! Right? And he would hit that high-octane move as he talks about in the last ride. But now it's all, I'm just going to kick your ass and be done with it kind of mentality. Feel free to chime in at any point, guys.
And he didn't just come back and just randomly. He showed up at Judgment Day, WWF title on the line in an Iron Man match between Triple H and The Rock.
Yeah, and he cost The Rock the title that night. He
did, which was funny. And also, Shawn Michaels was the special guest ref. This was a whole, crazy main event going on here. This was already crazy as it was. You had DX and the Corporation were all beating down on The Rock. Here comes the fucking Undertaker on a motorcycle, looking nothing like he did a year ago. He's beating the shit out of everybody in DX and beating up Vince, beating up Shane. I'm like, your brain would freaking explode. It's like, what the fuck just happened? Seriously.
If you go back and watch so many of those, because that was the back end of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, it was 2000.
In early 2000. Brian Brodo says, I believe I'm the first member of the Fix. Well, you may be the first member of the Fix, but you were the last one here.
So what Andy is saying, you are last in his heart. That's what he's saying.
Absolutely not. Don't you dare put those words in my mouth. Brodo's a producer here. He'll find a way in this show, and he will start wreaking havoc on me. Don't you bring that upon my life.
But listen, the ratings indicate that we need this. So I'm just doing what's necessary.
Who's fighting for ratings? If we ain't AEW or WWE.
And who gives a shit about ratings anymore?
I'm just trying to bump you up so that you're at the same level with lazy booking.
I wondered when that comment was going to come out.
What the hell did I miss?
He took a shot at our show.
Oh, come on. You knew it was coming.
I did.
But no.
You're a lot more subtle with it than Chrome is, though.
That's because Chrome likes to do that. Look at Ralph.
But Ralph, I'm pretty sure there's a T somewhere in that abbreviation.
Right in the middle. T. Down the middle.
No, but seriously though, it's a fun show. This is a very fun show. In all seriousness.
Well, of course it is. Because I'm here. So at some point,
everybody knows they need a little bit of butters in their life. I'm better.
I think the U.S. champ just spoke.
Everybody needs a little butter in their life. Oh my God!
I think we can all agree that should be the poll question from now on for every single show. Everybody needs a little butter in their life. Agree or disagree?
That'll be the poll question for next week's show.
Hey, I ain't the heartbreaker. I'm the heart stopper. Get it right.
It's the funniest thing you've ever said. And I've talked to you when you're drunk. Oh God. Okay. So so Kane shows up, right? How crucial is the Brothers of Destruction? The fact that Kane starts as a foe, right? We know he's his brother that the Undertaker left for dead. They have their great matches. Where the Undertaker got lit on fire and all this other jazz. But now, here we are, he's the American Badass, and he's going to team with his brother, and they're going to be called the Brothers of Destruction.
I mean, I felt like it was one of the greatest things ever. I mean, they're both at odds, and all of a sudden, here they are, teaming up, wrecking havoc. Don't mess with the brothers. I mean, end of story.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Back in 2001 when they finally became a team, it was like WWE all through 2000 just cock teased you and said, like, here comes Kane to help out The Undertaker. But seriously, though, think about it. All throughout 2000, Kane comes to help The Undertaker. Then Kane chokeslams Undertaker through the ring. I'm like, what the hell? I thought we were going to get a team up between Kane and The Undertaker. What the fuck? And then finally in 2001, they finally built it up. They finally actually went through with it, and they won the tag belts. And they won the WCW tag belts, too. But still, like, it's like kick-ass, man. Like, that was great, that time period.
So after the alliance and the whole invasion, which you mentioned, talking about the WCW titles, Undertaker becomes a villain, calling himself Big Evil. And really the highlight of this, for me at least, is the Royal Rumble 2002.
Oh, when he was the
Rumble ever.
When a man formerly known as Maven decided to drop kick his way into the infamy books by eliminating The Undertaker.
Drop kick heard around the world, boys and girls.
You know Maven was drunk when he was out there, too?
Really?
Yep.
Apparently he was really nervous, and so Taker, to calm him down for that spot, said here and gave him some Jack, and he got drunk. And then proceeded to go out and do it.
So Undertaker then decides he's going to eliminate Maven and beat the ever-living pulp out of him.
Dude, there wasn't nothing left but a smear on the Maven floor.
I don't think we saw Maven after that.
Dude, that whole time period when Taker was a bad guy, I will say, Taker was a good heel. And people don't always acknowledge how good of a heel he actually was. Like, he just... What was it? Then he went into a rivalry with Flair. He beat the shit out of David Flair one night, and Flair watched it happen. You know, he tortured Hulk Hogan and took the belt from him. You know, like, I was like, damn, Taker was a badass. It's just a shame that, you know, he was on Raw when Raw sucked. But, you know, I mean, still.
So wasn't that when he drug what's his name?
Hogan
with the chain?
Yep. He drove him with his bike.
Okay. You know, also during this time is when he has that match with Jeff Hardy.
Yes. The ladder match. Yeah.
And he raises Hardy's hand afterwards.
Yeah, that's when they subtly started changing back.
Well, and it was also the debut of his line, "I'm gonna make you famous."
Yep. Yeah. That was so cool.
So you mentioned him going back to Raw. He was such a huge deal for SmackDown, though.
He was.
Because he was on SmackDown, about 80-90% of the time?
Yep.
Pretty much. But I think, and the reason why is because SmackDown always prided itself as being the wrestling show, and Raw was trying to be the entertainment show, and it didn't really do all that well. We could mention
Raw done that well compared to SmackDown.
Not at that time, man. Oh my God! Like, ugh. I could bring up a certain angle, but we won't. That was just infamous time in Raw history. But Taker going to SmackDown was great because he got a chance to work with so many great wrestlers, and particularly he got to work with Brock Lesnar for the first time. And that was so huge for him to work with Brock because in 2002, when they had that Hell in the Cell match at No Mercy, wow. You talk about just, I'm going to bleed. Like, when I say I'm going to bleed, I mean I'm going to cut my ass as deep as I can and bleed all over the freaking place to make sure that this match gets over. That was amazing.
So Damian Estrada over on YouTube chiming in. Undertaker was a better heel than what the hell we have with King Corbin's annoying ass now. A piece of broccoli is a better heel than Baron Corbin.
In other news, by the way, the sky is blue. But anyway.
Oh, Maddie, you're a dick. So, during a match with Vince McMahon at Survivor Series, where it all began, Kane shows up and buries The Undertaker alive. Thus, we would see the end of the American Badass Big Evil persona And just a few months later, just in time for where it truly does all begin again, WrestleMania 20. Kane would go one-on-one with his brother. Kane, now maskless, would go one-on-one with his brother inside Madison Square Garden, and he would return as the Deadman.
Those video packages and vignettes and all that leading up to this match between Kane and the Undertaker were so great. It's what kind of pulled me into wanting to watch that match at WrestleMania 20. Like, Kane, every time the Undertaker thing would come up, you knew what it was, but, they played it off as what the hell was that? Kane's getting scared. You never see Kane really scared, at those times. And then all of a sudden it's like, you find out, shit, my brother's coming back. Shit. I think I messed up. I don't want this anymore. Mommy, help.
So Triple E asked, what's your guys' favorite match and worst match of The Undertaker's career? Butters, we'll start with you.
Worst match I'd have to say is Goldberg.
Okay.
The one with Goldberg here, last year, this year, whatever you want to call it. Here?
In Saudi.
Yeah.
That was a bad one.
And I'd say my best one would be the one with Jeff Hardy, the ladder match.
Okay.
I really love that match between the two. I mean, it showed Taker in a different aspect because you really didn't ever see him in ladder matches. I think that was his first one might have been. I could be wrong.
I think that was his first one.
Yeah.
He's only ever been in one other one, I think, with Edge.
Yeah, the one with Edge and Hell in a Cell.
But,
yeah, that's it.
Not in Hell in a Cell and Extreme Rules.
Yeah, TLC. Yeah.
Maddie, what about you?
Well, the worst one has to be hands down Giant Gonzalez. Nothing beats it. Still shitty all these years later. Don't go back and watch that. Don't. I will. For my favorite match, because it was so iconic, I really loved his matchup with Kane at WrestleMania 14. I mean, the match itself, was it their best match together? Maybe not. I think the Inferno match is a better match in general. But when we're talking about the way it was built up, the story behind it, and the entrance and everything, it's like Vince said, we've got a limited budget, and we're going to spend it all on Kane and The Undertaker. And don't get me wrong, also on Mike Tyson. But, it was still great show and a great match. It still was great.
So for me, I'm going to go with my best one first. I'm a little disappointed in both of you. You both talk about story and build-up and different things like that. Did everybody fall asleep April 5th, 2009? Right here in Houston, Undertaker went one-on-one with Mr. WrestleMania himself, Shawn Michaels, at WrestleMania 25.
That was great. No one's saying it wasn't.
See, I think that's his best match. You want to talk, like, Maddie, you bring up story, right? Heaven versus hell.
Well, that was great, but I enjoyed the fact that it was brother versus brother, and it was two very vicious, evil forces coming together. I just thought it was really
fair
cool.
Point. Very fair point, right? But WrestleMania 25, and that incredibly stands out to me. His worst match, like, I got to go with him winning the aggro crag.
Yeah,
I mean, like that was a lot of either that, or I'm going to say his match at WrestleMania 19 against Test and Albert
was not Test and Albert. Big Show and A-Train.
Oh, Big Show, same damn thing. The match sucked anyway.
Well, it was meant to build up Nathan Jones because he went to have such a great career in WWE.
Oh yeah, real good.
All those classic matches.
Oh yeah, man. Let me tell you, when he won the title, woohoo! See, it's funny that Damian says his worst match was against 3D at the Great American Bash. I was legit just about to ask, do you guys remember that night when he kills Paul Bear?
Yes. Taker pulling that lever himself. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to make me cry, boy.
Well, and It's in. You done?
I'm waiting for him to do it a third time and see what the fuck happens.
Well, see, like I feel like this is like our way of making fun of the hacker storyline, or like the anonymous Raw general manager, or like Save Us Y2J. Like I feel like this is the biggest like troll ever. I don't hate it, but okay.
I just want to know who's going to walk in on the show now.
Yeah, if it winds up being Undertaker that just shows up out of nowhere, I might die from an actual. I would have a stroke probably.
I can't form a thought right now.
I think we'd have to bury Rich in his own house right then and there.
Yeah, just come condemn it. Just call it a day. So Triple E goes, if The Undertaker want to wrestle again, what current active roster guys would you want to have a dream match with, or they never faced one-on-one? There's really nobody.
Well, there's only one, but it would have to be in their primes, and they're not going to be.
This is the part where you share with the rest of the class.
Sting.
He's not active roster.
But he even said, but somebody else that he never was on TV or a pay-per-view with. So, with that little wiggle room, I will say Sting.
Fair point.
But I will say, though, it would have to be in their prime. And Crow Sting, not Surfer Sting.
Yeah,
Crow
absolutely.
Sting all the way for that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to agree. I don't see anybody on the roster. I mean, I think he ended it with the perfect opponent in AJ Styles.
Yeah. So I was going to say, talking about the Paul Bearer thing, it's crazy how, Paul, I'm sorry. And then he pulls the lever, right? And then you fast forward a few years and it's Shawn Michaels, I'm sorry, I love you. Right? Like the words I'm sorry have so much impact throughout professional wrestling and these iconic moments. Damian Estrada, Undertaker versus Abyss would have been a great match. It would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only he had gone to WWE when he had the chance, but he stayed loyal to TNA.
Now he's just a producer in WWE. I wouldn't mind honestly seeing Abyss, even if it's one match or two, right now, just to try to, see what he could do in WWE.
So let me ask you guys a question. The streak. The streak is so synonymous with The Undertaker. And this question was coming. What are your thoughts on the streak? How it ended? How Undertaker kept coming back at WrestleMania? Now knowing what we know from watching The Last Ride. What are your thoughts on the streak?
I loved it. You'll never see something like it again. I would at least hope you don't see anything like that again, but,
I better not be alive to see something like this again.
Because, that's one of those, again, like the bottles that you might not ever catch again, and you just ruin, what The Undertaker had with that streak. Him ending it with Brock Lesnar, I get it. That was, his choice, yes. But I would have preferred to see an up-and-coming superstar that's going on now to be able to go, I'm the man that beat Taker. Now you got to beat me.
Triple E says he means current Raw, SmackDown, or NXT roster. So your Sting line sucks.
Well, he also had that wiggle room there on the first try. He corrected it, though, so I will bow out and say, I have nobody. So
What are your thoughts, Maddie, on the streak?
Okay, for me, I would say, it's one of the major things about Undertaker that everybody remembers. We talk about how Undertaker's legacy, his legacy is always going to be how he had that streak, and just being the icon that he was. The way it ended, I mean, I understand the situation that they were in. They had to do something. You know, Taker was almost gone. Thank God he wasn't at WrestleMania 30. But you know, the way it ended, I'm still not a massive fan. Looking back on it, hindsight being 2020, the way that it ended with Roman, I feel like would have been better. You know, just would have told a better story. You know, looking back on it, you know, I would have done that, and Roman could then take it. And yeah, people hate Roman, blah blah blah, whatever, but they did it so well to the fact where Roman now came out the very next night. Everybody was chanting "Fuck you, Roman" live on USA, and
Such a good night.
all he had to do was pick up that microphone and say, "This is my yard now," and dropped it and walked away. It's like, well, you cannot manufacture that. That is 110% real, and it is the last real thing we will ever see in WWE, and that is still true to this very day. It's just crazy, you know?
See, like, for me, and I'm going to get to Prism's comment in just a second. I see it right there. For me, and especially, like, 33, right, not knowing what I knew, I was actually legitimately mad. You know, and even at 30, I was legitimately mad. I didn't think it was the right time for him to end it. I didn't think, like, end it when you're leaving. You know, if you're going to end it, be done, right? Or go out on the win and don't ever let it be broken. You know, there was only two ways that was going to happen for me. You know, some have said that him continuing after he lost to Brock and even after Roman was selfish, right? Man had a really long fucking career. He has every right to do whatever he wants with that career. End it how he wants to end it.
It shouldn't be selfish to want to say, hey, I want to do another WrestleMania match regardless. Yes, the streak was him. He was synonymous with the streak. But then again, you know, Taker he was synonymous with WrestleMania in general. You could have left the streak away from Taker and you'd still have Taker and WrestleMania be, you know.
Well, and he talks about how he had to go back and defend the streak. The streak was like a title to him that he had to go back and defend it. You know, Triple E says Edge was supposed to end the streak, but he didn't want to end it. Of course you don't want to end it. You don't want to be that guy.
I mean, there were several guys. I mean, he even proposed Undertaker proposed Angle to end the streak at one point.
Yep.
And they were supposed to have the World Heavyweight title match that they had at No Way Out at WrestleMania 22 that year, and Vince nixed it at the last minute. Said no.
He wanted Randy to do it at one point.
Yeah, he wanted Randy the year before to do it, which
Randy would have made sense at that time. At that time, Randy would have definitely made sense.
And they were going to do it, but then Randy, doing what he did back then, being young, dumb, and full of you know what, he got drunk and he did something stupid. Next thing you know, Vince said, "Okay, you're not beating Undertaker now."
You can say cock tease, but you're afraid to say full of shit.
No, I was saying it for comedic purposes. I was leaving it in there.
Loyalty
Yes.
JTB checking in over there on Twitch saying hi. What's up? Prism says, I legit only watch WrestleMania for the streak. Once he lost, I only watched one WrestleMania, and that was at Dallas from his hometown-ish area, and I got to go. Hey, me too. I was there for that one. Fuck that stadium and fuck those stairs. That's a story for another day.
Well, I hate stairs in general. I mean,
well, no, like, all right, we're gonna get into it apparently. So a normal stairs is like this, right? It goes up and up and up. In AT&T Stadium, it was like, have you ever seen those stairs where they turn into a slide?
Yeah.
I felt like I was walking up, like they didn't fully turn into the slide, they like half-ass turned into the slide. So I'm just like, and I got about halfway up, and we sat really high up for 32.
Are you saying that the stadium that Jerry Jones funded for the Cowboys is not good? That it sucks?
I'm saying it's shit. Their Wi-Fi went down. I didn't get in. I got there an hour before the pre-show started. I didn't get inside till halfway through the pre-show after the women's match because their Wi-Fi went down on half the building.
You need to go to Dallas and you need to say that at every bar. to say that their stadium is shit. Just say it and see what happens with the Cowboys fans.
Their stadium.
I would cry.
Should I do it while wearing an Eagles jersey too?
Yes, absolutely, 110%.
I'll do that on one condition, Maddie. One condition.
Sure.
You're paying for my funeral, fuckface.
You're dead, so I don't actually have to.
Oh, I'll have a contract. We're fine. Ryan Brodo says the only opponent I want to see Undertaker go up against is Drew McIntyre.
It'd be an all right match.
Drew worked with him well when they had that Extreme Rules tag match with him and Roman. Yeah.
So, Loyalty saying Undertaker deserves all the credit and he deserves to be allowed to do what he wants. He wanted to go out on a match that he felt great in a high note. Absolutely. Wait, Loyalty, put it up. I'm a Cowboys fan and I agree. Our stadium's very tiring. It feels too much. Thank you. Thank you. Hashtag Dallas sucks. Oh, here comes the Dallas trashing. This is a wrestling show. We're still trashing Dallas. AT&T Stadium's owned by Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. What the hell do you expect from a really shitty team? Oh, how the hell did we get here?
Hey, you want to talk about football earlier, so
That's what I get for thinking I can talk football. Do you guys have a favorite Undertaker Wrestlemania moment?
oof.
Okay, so let me go through them all because there is a lot. Let's see here.
Loyalty says, but if you wear an Eagles jersey and say that to my face, I'll tombstone you through a table. I want to say you won't, but I'm kind of I don't know this man in real life. He might.
If that did happen, that has to be streamed on A2D Radio. So that way we would.
Yes.
It has to be. It's like we watched the tombstone leading to Andy's tombstone. Legitimately.
Hey, there it is.
Oh, but
Apropos.
let me think about. All right, back to Undertaker moments. Let me see if I can decipher one down. Okay.
I would have to say it was the one against Batista where he wins the World Heavyweight title. That was like my, yes, I've watched pay-per-views before that, but that was like my first big, my own self purchase. I purchased the pay-per-view. I purchased, WrestleMania for the first time. And, that match there was to me, probably one of my favorites.
That's a good one. Still.
See, so I was at 25, right? And, obviously that's my favorite match of his. I was at 32 when when we were chanting, "Please don't die," coming off of the cell, right? But my favorite has to be 34. It's going to sound really weird, right? Because that's where he fights Cena in that squash match. But I remember Cena running to the back, right, to the concourse. Not to the concourse, to the backstage area. They told him Undertaker's here. So he hauls ass to the back. And at one point, Elias comes out. So I decide I'm going to go to the concession stand. I'm going to get a drink. We've been there forever, right? This is just a blow-off segment. Something stupid's going to happen. So I go down, go down to the concourse. And it's a pretty full concourse, right? Because everybody else has the same idea. I do. And right where you come out from our section is a concession stand. So just walk right out, boom, you're in line. And Cena's music hits. I've never seen a concourse clear. When I say the concourse cleared, I saw grown men leave food and beer and a bathroom cleared out. To my right, literally everywhere cleared out. And I'm standing on this, and it happens in a blink of an eye. The shop table cleared. And I'm still standing there. I'm like,
You could have. So what you're saying is you could have had a naked Alexa Bliss just right there, and they still would have just booked it straight back to their seats the moment they heard that
I have
gong.
to say, no, it was when Cena's music happened.
Oh, okay.
We knew Undertaker was coming.
Oh,
So
but still.
me knowing where we were, and the people behind the concession stand are dying. I was like, yeah, let me get two Sprites and walk back up to the seat. I get up there, Cena's not even in the fucking ring yet. So it was perfect, but knowing, and it's weird because it doesn't involve Undertaker, right? Until the gong happens, and I almost threw the Sprite onto the lady in front of me. I truly didn't think it was happening. And my hand went like this, and Jax's hand went on top of the lid to keep it from going everywhere. So that's my favorite Undertaker moment because of what happened in the stands.
Okay, then. I would say my favorite, WrestleMania 20, when he came back as the Deadman.
That's
Because
a solid choice.
Because I just remember the build-up was so great for it, and he came out, and Paul Bearer was there too, and we hadn't seen Paul Bearer in years. I mean, the last time we saw Paul Bearer was 2000, and he was managing Kane. Yeah, that was it. That was the last time we saw him. So seeing that was like, oh my god, I was so excited. Like I imagine me as a little kid in like elementary school age just jumping up and down on a couch because I was so excited that the Undertaker was coming back. And he came back and he had torches. The druids were there with the torches and everything. I was like, oh my god, this is like one of the greatest entrances. I had to go back and see 14. I got to see 20 while it happened. So it was awesome. Like, it was just great.
So I have a question.
Sure.
I would love to see video of you jumping up and down on this couch.
Unfortunately, we did not have a camera. So
Oh my god. All right. I'm gonna tell you something off air. No, fuck it, I'm gonna tell you right now. Did you ever watch it finally hit me. You know who you remind me of, Maddie?
Okay.
Oh, this ought to be a good one.
Did you ever watch Teen Titans?
Yes.
Remember the one obsessed with like cable and everything like that?
You mean
In the
Cyborg?
TV shows? No, the villain.
Oh.
Oh, you talking about the fat guy with the long hair?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what his name is. Hold up.
So you're trying to compare me and you don't even know the name.
But I can picture him. I swear to God I can.
I can picture him now that he says it.
But no, I mean, while I sit here and try to figure this out.
Control Freak.
Right? Control Freak, yes.
Okay.
Oh my
All
god!
right.
I need to get this to Ralph. Ralph, while you're back there, look up Control Freak, Teen Titans, and give me a picture. Loyalty says, I went to Rumble in 2017. I remember when he came out and I freaked out. I almost lost my souvenir cup because it went over the edge. So I was that was in San Antonio. I was there for that one too. You want to talk about a crazy moment. An absolute crazy moment was when that gong hit and it came back on. And there's the friggin' Undertaker. We had Undertaker, Goldberg, and Brock all within like a 20-minute span in the Rumble that year. Loyalty does make a comment, by the way, about wanting to join this show. So Loyalty, there's actually a way to do it. Every month, right around the pay-per-view, right after the lazy booking, right before a pay-per-view happens, I drop on our Facebook page, the In This Very Ring Facebook page, I drop a ballot. And that ballot lets you do predictions for the pay-per-view. So for Extreme Rules, for example, we're going to do one. And if you win that ballot, that predictions ballot, you have an opportunity to come on the show the following week and talk about, for instance, Extreme Rules or Money in the Bank. or whatever that pay-per-view was with us. So check here in about a couple of weeks, and we'll put one out for Extreme Rules.
Oh.
So Triple E says, "What's your favorite Undertaker gimmick?"
Well, not the Phantom of the Opera mask.
You weren't a fan?
I don't think anybody was. Let's see. I don't even think he was. He didn't wear it at WrestleMania 12. But anyway, let's see. Even though on the poster it's him in the mask. But I would say my favorite would probably be. I just always thought it was cool the way that. Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Thank you, Ralph.
Okay, yes, I would admit if I shaved off this and I just had the sideburns going on, okay, I can see it. I can totally see it. If I just had the sideburns, yeah, all right, you got me. You got me. I have to tap out on that one. You got me.
Brodo says Ministry Taker will always have one of the best entrance themes ever.
Oh yeah, that was a kick-ass theme song he had at that time.
Yeah, with the Latin in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Always the American Badass for me. Always.
The American Badass was kick-ass. The bike is a good one, though. That's a good gimmick. That's a tough one to beat. But I would say when he comes out in that long trench coat with the hat, when he takes off the hat and he has the eyes rolled back, I always love that because then they had the thunder go off every time that they would have it on the camera. That was always so cool. I always thought, damn, I never thought anything could beat the bike for a long time because I just thought, man, that was so kick-ass, but that beat it because it was just so cool. It used to give me chills. I was like, I actually got chills, and I know that The Undertaker's not this guy.
I mean, yeah, because when, Taker came out, I don't remember which Royal Rumble that was, Kurt Angle. To confront Kurt Angle, throw the lightning down on the ring.
Oh, yeah. That was when he came out on the black horse.
Oh, that was cool. That was cool.
Scare the hell out of Kurt Angle. It's like, hands up, and lightning down.
And the ring collapsed.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't remember which WrestleMania it was, but the one where he comes out, he doesn't have the hat on, but he's got the headpiece, and it comes down to a point. And he's got it looks like an Assassin's Creed kind of getup.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All the ridges and the spikes on it. Like, that Undertaker, that entire persona. Because that was the year he came back and looked better than ever.
Yeah.
That was the year where he fucked everybody up.
Yeah, that's true. And also, let's give a shout out to when he had that gothic look back in the 90s. Like, back in the late 90s.
With the eye makeup?
Not the eye makeup, but
Lord of Darkness?
when he would come out and he would have the piece behind him, and he would have the jacket that had the long cape behind it.
Ministry.
Well, Ministry and in '98, it was kind of back when he was doing that whole gothic thing.
So the end of Lord of Darkness, the beginning of Ministry.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So. All right, guys. We let's wrap it all up. Okay. Undertaker's career has come to a close last week. Right? Very touching with the whole Troubadour, as Butters and I were talking before we came on air. We knew the Undertaker's career was ending because
fuck me up.
Well, because we heard about it in the morning, right? All the news broke before noon that Undertaker retired. Right, so you're watching the episode. If you're like me, you watched it later that night. You're watching the episode. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, this is sweet. This is nice. And then that first strum of Troubadour hits, and I'm like,
I was welling up. I was in tears. I was like, you sons of a bitches. You had me going good. You had me fine, and then you freaking go and say the cowboy rides away. You strum up Troubadour, and you sons of a bitches made me cry.
See, and in true WWE fashion, it's a great video package with Undertaker talking around it. And it was, Butters, you shared it last night. and I watched it again last night because I saw you share it.
I mean, the video, like you said, the video package is so great. I'm watching the whole thing, and I'm like, if it gets to a part, it's gonna make me cry. It's like I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And like you said, that first strum of Troubadour, and you're like, son of a bitch. It's like, screw it. 30 years. My childhood is gone. The Undertaker is retired.
Well, your childhood should have left a long time ago, but that's besides the point. Damien wants to know, before we get into our final couple questions, Damien says, what's Undertaker's best promo of all time? Does one stick out to you?
Oh, dear Lord.
When he's doing the promo against Kane, and he comes back from the coffin on the Raw entrance.
Is that where he has the mic piece on?
Yes, and he does the whole effigy of Kane in the coffin, and he sets it on fire.
And I will walk through fire.
Yeah, building up to 14.
Yeah, that was the first. When I saw that question, that was the first one that popped into my mind. His work with Triple H and actually his best segment, non-wrestling segment, has to be 2/21/12, February 21st, 2012, when he did the whole "There Ain't No Grave to Hold My Body Down" entrance, and they have his symbol up, and he's standing in the ring, and before he can even say a word, Triple H's music hits. And Triple H comes down, and the two of them stare up at the Wrestlemania sign. Like, that's a non-wrestling segment that stands out to my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I got to agree with that one. The whole Triple H thing is just, those promos there for those matches were just spot-on greatness.
So we know that The Undertaker signed a lengthy contract just a few years ago. And he is now retired. We know that he goes, anytime he's in Orlando, he stops in at the PC and helps out there. But and real quick, what does The Undertaker's future with the company look like?
I mean, I'd say a teacher here and there, just stays retired and collects all that money. But I mean, honestly and truly, I feel like Vince has put him inside the glass, and he's got the sign that says, "In case of an emergency, break glass." I mean, Undertaker's done so much that he doesn't need to do anything anymore. But Vince has that, like you said, he just signed that multi-year contract. So Vince has that, if there's a true emergency and he needs the Undertaker for a good, match, I got to break that glass. I think he just sits at, honestly and truly, I think he just sits at home and enjoys, the time he has with his family now.
Butters? Not Butters. Maddie?
Hey, he does not look anything like me, sir.
Well, we do have kind of the similar beard going on.
Not even going there.
But for me, I would say, honestly, if he does do anything, it would be just a one-off appearance. It won't be anything crazy, like Butters was saying, But if they have him do any role, maybe they bring him out and say, like, hey, we have this guy that we have. He's working well with us. We think that he has a lot of similarities to you in terms of his in-ring ability. Maybe you could show him a few things, and maybe they might do that, where you have a big guy who's very athletic and can move. Undertaker can show him a few things.
See, for me, I think the last ride was a way to pull the curtain back, and now you can have Undertaker start doing some of the appearances for the company.
Yeah.
He's going to start doing more I think he starts doing more of those. I think he starts being WWE when they're contacted by a Comic-Con of some sorts. That's going to be somebody that WWE is going to say, hey, we'll give you Undertaker. For the first time in 30 years. Which I would get on a plane tomorrow.
Get on a plane. I think we'd see you run for the first time. Screw the plane.
Yeah, you're pretty funny tonight.
Huh?
You're on point with the jokes tonight. I'm impressed. It'll be the funniest moment of your entire life. Undertaker is going to become a manager and manage his son because his son wants to wrestle with the WWE. I actually haven't heard that, but if that's true, I don't hate the idea.
No, I don't hate it either.
If his son can do half the things that Taker could do in the ring, then holy shit, he can have himself one hell of a career.
Yeah, because you don't hear them talk about his son.
No.
True.
He doesn't mention children, but he doesn't ever talk about his son.
That's like saying then in the documentary, all you ever saw was what? One, maybe two of his daughters?
I think just the one.
Just one?
The one he had with Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he had 2 daughters with Michelle.
No.
I could be wrong.
I don't keep up with how many kids the Undertaker has.
No.
I forget because I know he had one with Sarah, and I forget if that was his son or his other daughter. But I think it was his son.
Either way, right? I think we're going to start seeing more appearances from the Undertaker as we move forward. So with that, the Undertaker's career has come to an end. 30 years of just, for some reason, as I say 30 years, Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times promo comes into my mind. But 30 years of the Undertaker digging holes and taking souls. Right? As the biggest A2D Undertaker mark in this company, I can't put, there's a part of me that just wants to say thank you. Thank you, Taker, for 30 years of changing the way we view professional wrestling.
A big time thank you. We can't really view wrestling any different now. With Taker, it's just thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and it's the wrestling business will never be the same, and thank you for giving us everything that you gave us because you gave us everything you had.
Yep. So with that wraps up tonight's episode of In This Very Ring. Maddie, we gotta send a big, huge thank you to you for joining us. Guys, before everybody goes, Bill Alfonso Part 2 was this past Thursday with Chrome. He talks all ECW. Guys, it's a trip. You need to go back and listen to Part 1 and Part 2. I think there's a Part 3. I think that's going to be this week as well. But stay tuned to HUD Radio for more on that. Make sure you are watching all of our programming. Tomorrow, you have the flagship show, Agree to Disagree. Sport Towns follows it up on Monday. Birds of a Feather will be back on Tuesday. The Fix and AM and the PM will be back on Wednesday. Like I said, Part 3 of the Bill Alfonso interview is going to be Thursday. And then, right afterwards, join Maddie and the boys. Maddie, what are you guys talking about, Hockey Happy Hour?
We're going to talk about the draft lottery and how the NHL absolutely face-planted in the draft lottery.
A giant clusterfuck. So, to talk about a train wreck, make sure you guys check out Hockey Happy Hour this week.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy's going to be back on Friday with On the Road to Victory. Then Saturday, the Soccer Boys. Actually, I don't think anybody's doing a show next Saturday because it is the 4th of July. Right? So we won't even be back. We won't be back next week. We'll be back the week after. We're going to talk Extreme Rules. We're going to recap Fyter Fest. We didn't get to that tonight. We're also going to recap NXT and
week one of the Bash.
And week 1 of the Bash. Yeah, I was getting there if you would have shut up for just 5 seconds.
That's Wednesday.
Yeah, I literally said NXT. I was going to say is doing the Great American Bash, but because you have the attention span of a mouse, you interrupted me.
Well, be fair, not a mouse, a squirrel. Just a little bit longer. Half a second longer.
Okay. Anywho, damn it. So we're going to recap Fyter Fest. We're going to recap Great American Bash, and we're going to get ready for Extreme Rules in just 3 weeks' time. So guys, for Squirrel Boy over here, for the GOAT, God, I feel like Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's a damn zoo around here. We gotta thank Ralphie in the back. I'm Ritz. Guys, we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Right here on In This Very Ring. Live on HUD Radio.